Okay.
Cool.
Just one sec here. There we are on screen. All right. Welcome aboard, everybody. Oh, no, wait a second. I'm going to redo that. Still have your music playing in the background. There. Okay, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is Fly in Formation, episode 136. Today, I am joined by another return guest, Ezza of Choom Gang, out in Niagara Falls. Welcome aboard, bro. How you doing?
Hey, good brother. How are you?
Ah, dude, life is good on this side. Life is good out here. It's been a while since you dropped this album, but we're going to talk about it on this one, right? I saw you say this is the only interview you've done about Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, that's correct. It's yeah, I usually am dropping stuff more often, but I gave this album a lot of space. So when we planned this for the end of April, I'm like, okay, I can hold off really dropping anything else. I can continue to promote that and kind of use that as my end point, my bookend to the
Holy
Castle in the
shit.
Sky era.
You included the podcast in the rollout planning. Salute to you for
Yeah,
that, sir.
that's what we got to do what we can out here.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I like to think that if there are purist hip hop heads in Canada, like they should be tapped in with that sick and Fly in Formation by now. If they're not, what the fuck are you doing out there? I do a radio show every week, guys. It's called
Hey,
After the Smoke is Clear, and yeah,
I got to admit, I was even late to the party myself, so I can't really shame other people. Come on board, no shame, come on board whenever
definitely
you're
come on
available.
board. You're never
Yeah,
too late to join the party over
never
there.
too late.
Yeah, definitely, man. There's so much talent getting slept on. You, I think, count in that category. What's the response been like? Have you sold a ton of these albums, or did you press physicals for this? I can't remember.
I set up like a vinyl release through Elastic Stage, which a lot of people are doing now. It's just like a super easy way to distribute vinyl. So far, I haven't heard any big problems other than sort of wait times and prices are kind of crazy, but you're getting, a custom vinyl.
Hold
Um,
up, pump the brakes on that. Is Elastic Stage like? Are they making them as they're being ordered? Is it one of those types of things, like drop shipping style?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So you can order in bulk, like if an artist wants to, just create the vinyl and then have his own physical copies or her own physical copies
Right.
and just order like a big bulk order and then deal with it old school from there.
Tour with it and
Or you
hand to
can
hand
have
them.
it just,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Or you can just have it set up on the website where people can order them. But I didn't get Castle in the Sky done, but I got like my single Old Soul done.
Oh, dope. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and yeah, it's beautiful, man. This one's still sealed, but they do a really good job.
What's the thinking on
Um,
just getting the single done?
well, that specific single, "Old Soul," was like something I was really proud of. I was able to link up with Daniel's son and get him on that song.
Yeah.
Who like really has become one of my favorite rappers over the last couple of years. So to be able to link with him and have him on the song, on a beat by Arson, who's a big local guy around here for beat making.
Nice.
So to be able to sort of make that Toronto to Niagara connection, and Arsenal did the art for it as well, which I really liked. So I thought, you know what, this is something special. I'll do a couple presses of this as a single. And again, I haven't really sold much of anything, but if we're counting the way things go today, I've definitely seen a positive response in growth as far as streams and socials and stuff like that goes. So,
Yeah.
without being much of a content creator and just really trying to push the music, all things considered, I've seen, the bump that I wanted to see over the last few months for sure.
I think with Canadian indie artists, man, it's going to be slow growth unless you win the lottery and can put, a few $1,000s into promo or whatever. Like you do see some artists pop up and like suddenly they're doing millions of streams overnight. And, I'm not really sure how they got there. It always makes me feel a little bit like, that term industry plant or whatever pops into my mind. And I don't know if that always means necessarily that there's someone at some record label backing them, or if like they just have a bunch of money from their parents or what, but somehow somebody had a bunch of money for promo and can vault themselves past that. But for most of the artists I talk to on this show, I mean, to get incrementally better with every release, I think is kind of the idea, and just slowly gather fans along the way. Do you think you found new fans with this one, or is this kind of just serving the fans you already had?
Yeah, so definitely have brought some new fans in with this one, which I'm really happy to have happen. I feel like I kind of have a bigger launch pad to go forward from. Obviously, I would hope to have more at this point, but I kind of just gave myself a real reality check last year, and you know, I obviously have other things going. Like I have my family, I have
Yeah,
two kids now, so that's like priority one. But luckily, they all support what I do. So I really found myself in a sweet spot where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna really um, only work on stuff if I'm actually passionate about it. I'm not trying to, out here trying to make a hit or trying to make
right.
something that's going to go. And I realized, the more you do, the more you don't focus on all that shit, um, the better quality of fans you get, and it may trickle in slowly.
Yeah,
But there's a sweet spot, right? Like people like to see numbers, right? They don't want to feel like, for whatever reason, some of us who are real like aficionados like to be in there real early.
sure.
But the general public, like they want to see somebody with a few thousand plays on a song at least, before they're interested in even clicking it, which is wild, but that's where we're at, right? But
100%, man.
then,
I hate that. I
like
hate
you
that
said,
factor. That's the worst.
it's awful, right?
Yeah,
And the fact that Spotify, which is like the main place, it doesn't even show until you hit that 1,000. So it's just like you have nothing until you have at least 1,000 as far as numbers are concerned with people, right? And then, as you said earlier, like sometimes people will pay for promo or whatever it is, just suddenly sink, like, after not sort of allocating any budget toward promo for months or years, all of a sudden have like a million views on something. Well, they just suddenly, they had saved up and they just dunked it all into promo for this thing.
yeah,
That rubs people the wrong way too. You don't want to suddenly see somebody with a million billion plays that you've never heard of and nobody's ever talked about. You don't know where this came from.
for real.
So there really is a sweet spot where people want to catch you on that upright. They don't want to catch you as a complete starving artist, and they don't want to catch you when it's too late and you've amassed millions of streams from Lord knows what the source is.
Yeah.
They want to catch you on the way up, and so you got to kind of have to have that organic growth if you want real music fans to be interested.
It's gonna get tougher and tougher now too, like with this the whole streaming situation and people's tendency to go towards the numbers like that. I've been seeing more and more about people who are just uploading thousands of AI songs on a constant basis in order to make a couple bucks off of each song. And I don't know, articles telling me guys are making 30 grand a month or some dumb shit off of just like uploading a bunch of slop that they've generated on AI. But that's forcing, and I'm seeing lots of posts where listeners are saying like, I found this new band and then was heartbroken when I found out they were AI. And now like even visuals, the AI can do that. So like I really don't know what's going to happen with that. I think we need to legislate against it because I don't think that the average person cares enough to really dig and find out whether what they're listening to is AI or not anymore. And as it becomes too close to differentiate between the two sound wise, we're going to get into a mess. And I don't think Spotify is going to care. I don't think the labels are going to care because they're happy if we just
Oh no,
listen to Drake and Kendrick and Taylor Swift, right?
they'll love it.
Yeah,
They'll love
right. And people I think will tend to do that because they'll just gravitate to the artists who they know are artists, Drake and Kendrick and Taylor Swift. And Universal Music Group will make a bag and they'll lobby the government to not fucking change the the laws to legislate against it. But it's not going to be good for indie artists across the board, man. I wanted to ask you about your use of AI recently. Are you the leader of a cult now? I gather from your social
it.
media that you have turned a new leaf and you're now trying to. I don't know. Are you a right wing grifter or what's the plan? What's
Yeah, it's well, first of all, like I had a lot of fun putting together, like just prompting these things with Sora, right? And I wanted to sort of put out stuff that was obviously AI, that wasn't like this guy's trying to fool me or trying to get one over on me. Like
right?
I almost wanted to take advantage of the kind of dodgy quality that we're still kind of in that zone where it's really obvious,
Yeah. Yeah,
if you're
totally.
actually paying attention.
Yeah.
So I'm like, while we're still kind of in this gray area where it's like we're kind of in this early toddler stage of this stuff, I want to kind of have fun with that and put together like and just show, I see all these kind of political ads and there are grifters and there are actual politicians and there's very blurred lines between the two, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when you see these ads, I mean, even for some of the politicians that I don't mind, you see the ads they put out are just like, they're shaking hands with a guy that got a construction hat on. Now they're being shown something in a factory. Now they're like getting down with some kids and playing like Stella Ella Ola or something. It's
Yeah.
just like, when is this guy actually doing all this stuff? Who's setting up the shot every time? Like
Right.
how much time and energy and money is being put into this? So my thought was I could prompt just with words, I could write one of these political ads and prompt it, and with zero budget whatsoever, put together something that looks like it kind of could be a real, actual political ad,
Sure.
only with elements that are obviously AI,
Obvious.
like I'm riding a
Well, and even
moose
the
or
content was obviously satire, right? Like I'm joking. Are you a right wing grifter? I gather that you were more making fun of the whole genre. Have
yeah,
you been
exactly.
have you been paying attention this CBC story that broke a couple days ago about how they found there were 20 different accounts that had accumulated 40 million views on YouTube doing slopaganda about how Alberta should separate. This is
No, I missed that.
yeah, okay, yeah. So this is something that has broken, but this whole Alberta separatist thing, I've, said on this podcast before that I've lived here 39 years and I've never had anybody say to my face Alberta should separate.
Really?
And I've been on work sites, I've been around dudes who, assume I'm the average white guy and will say racist shit around me or whatever. So like I think
Oh yeah,
that
that's the
someone
worst.
would have told me we should separate if that was actually something that people around here think. But I really think it's just like an astroturf campaign. Um, and like I'm seeing the same thing in music happening where like, I'm reading about these companies that you can hire to like pop up and put a bunch of botted comments into your Instagram posts or whatever saying like, oh, your album was so great and like all this type of shit, and they're on there 30 seconds after the album has dropped. There's 20 comments on Drake's new album talking, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure there will be when it does drop, but
Oh yeah.
saying, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world or whatever. And some of those people will be real and some of those people will be um paid for by UMG or whoever else, the powers that be that push this shit. So, yeah, man, it's getting tougher and tougher to tell what is real and what isn't real, um, and how to get above that shit. Uh,
Yeah.
and
I mean, and that's kind of where I was going with that whole thing is like, I wanted some people to be fooled. Like I got some, like, my parents are like, they're boomers, but they're like pretty cool boomers for boomers, right? But they got lots of boomer friends and stuff and that have me on Facebook. So I'm staring. I wanted some of them to kind of be like, is this guy serious?
yeah, yeah,
So that was part of the fun for me. But you know what I mean? I'm not like, again, I'm not a content creator guy, so I was like, if we're going to be in an ecosystem where the quantity is all that matters and just how much you throw up there rather than the actual quality,
yeah.
then let's make some fake slop again to ourselves and throw it up there, right?
I think
And
it was smart,
so
man. It was a month ago or whatever now, and it made enough impression on me that, I still remember it off the top of my head and wanted to ask you about it. As
yeah,
compared to
I
just kind of like wrapping your verse into a camera or whatever you see people doing, right? Which like sometimes is cool too. Like rappers should be rapping. I'm here for that too. But
right.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, they want us to show our personality. So let me show my personality in like a weird, quirky way.
yeah,
Like, I'm not going to set up all these shots of these things. You know what I mean? So let's just upload my face into something and throw it up there as slop, but in a way where, again, the audience is in on the joke. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be deceptive or anything like that. But it's funny you say because I had a homie I hadn't seen in a couple months come through the other day, and he's like, "Hey, Supreme Leader," So people who are like, it seemed to have made an impression. My only worry is if it kind of fucked up my algorithm because when I was pushing those things out, I was getting comments from random accounts being like slop, like blah blah blah. People
okay,
who obviously didn't get it right. So
right,
now when I'm putting music out, I'm hoping that this genius algorithm we all work with can figure out the difference between, okay, this was this guy making some kind of satire content, here's his
Right.
musical content, we got to push each of those to the right audience
Well, and even
instead
even
of
the listeners themselves, right? Like I worry about, I'll use AI to make the cover of like every Friday I do a at sick radar and listen to a bunch of music, and like I'll just have it whip up like a satellite dish that says at sick radar, whatever number it is, 702. And I kind of wonder to myself, like, I hope that this isn't something that people see and are like, oh, fuck this guy. He uses AI and I'm an artist who supports art. And,
you
like
know
you definitely see that sentiment online that, like, oh, if I see you use any AI at all, I'm hitting unfollow or I'm leaving. I'm not listening to your album if it's got an
you
AI
know
cover or this, that, the other.
certain silly little things. It's like, okay, was I supposed to pay somebody to do this?
Every
You know what
fucking
I mean?
week, give me a break. I'm not made of money. I don't make any money off this shit, right?
So
Yeah.
it's like even a graphic designer would be annoyed with that project in my
100%.
opinion.
Yeah, I've said that
So
too,
it's
man,
like,
that some pictures don't have to be art. People who make
mhm,
art, that's great. If you do visual art, do visual art. But, if somebody needs a menu generated, I don't really think many artists are out there chomping at the bit to be the one who gets to create the menu for them or whatever and do that type of digital
you
design.
know.
Yeah. So
But I do understand, like, album artwork. That's an iffy one. Like,
I
you
agree.
do
Yeah.
want to see. For me, artwork is important, especially as something that accompanies your album. If your album artwork is AI, that doesn't really have me going in with a good taste in my mouth. I may not
Yeah.
be like, fuck this guy altogether, because ultimately it's how you use it, right? Like, we're
Yeah.
in hip hop. People used to say all this stuff about sampling and all that, like, these guys aren't really making music. They're just taking other people's music, and
Right.
they're not really playing instruments. They're just loading sounds into a program and then programming it out. It, you know, so I try to keep an open mind that way and be like, there has to be a way that this can be used artistically. But then, I see like clips of interviews with people like Diplo and other producers being like, well, this is the way the economy works. Like, you want to be able to create the most stuff for the cheapest, and whoever is able to do that gets the furthest, and that's just how things work. Like,
Fuck that.
but this is
Diplo has the
art,
money to
man. This
pay
is
for
art.
cover art. Yeah. Fuck that.
This is art, man.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be some humanity to it. Like,
The
it
the
can't
only
just
time that I
be
really
stuff.
can give it a pass for cover art is the guys who are like actually drop, drop, drop every fucking week forever and ever.
Yeah.
And like, okay, Dylan Ponders, I get it. And I don't even know if he uses AI. Maybe he does have artists that do all of his stuff,
I
but like
mean, if
guys
he
like that who have
doesn't,
been
then
dropping every week forever and ever, um, you know,
yeah, like, kudos to him if he's not using AI for those. Like, oh my goodness,
yeah.
that's a lot of output.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I don't assume many people are really running with it. I do see it from time to time on people's singles, and think,
Yeah, I was gonna say singles is not that big of a deal to me. It's just an album is sacred.
yeah, yeah, I
you
would
know.
agree. If you're gonna put the time into putting, 10 or whatever songs on an album, spend all that time making the music, you should spend a little bit of time planning out the vision and working with some artist who can help you create it. This one, castles, what castle in the sky, not castles, right? Just a single
Yeah,
castle. Yeah.
castle. Yeah, one castle.
One castle in the sky. It's a little bit longer than some of the others that you would put out. I think, anyways, it's like 13
Yeah,
tracks or something like that.
yeah. 13. I normally like keep it at like 10 or under for the most part.
Okay.
I like to kind of, well, especially again, I hate to say that I'm like catering to anything this day and age, but you as an artist, you kind of got to find like the stuff that works for you that also happens to work for the system.
Yeah.
So like shorter projects when you're trying to get discovered still kind of work, because it might be intimidating for somebody to jump into a new artist and have like 18 songs, 25 songs there.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it on the shorter end, and therefore Castle in the Sky being 13 is on the longer end for me, because I'm still really trying to get discovered. And
Yeah.
I kind of put myself into shoes of people who are discovering music, because I love music too. And we have to face the fact that it's not how it used to be, right? There are certain things that will draw you in, there are certain things that will turn you off. And when you're kind of putting stuff out, as while keeping it within your wheelhouse and within your artistic vision, you could go, okay, that might work in this field as well, right? So for me, being able to sort of put out these shorter projects, it I'm envisioning myself as a listener who loves finding a new artist with like an EP with 5 songs I could just play back to back, and now I love this artist and I could go find more of their stuff.
Right.
Um, so I'm putting myself in the shoes of the listener while I'm mostly, concerned with making the stuff I want to make. I also have to think of like music lovers and what they appreciate, because that's what I am as well. Ultimately, I'm a nerd. I'm like a hip hop nerd. I'm not,
Yeah,
you
man.
know.
I mean, from the position of me as a hip hop nerd over here, watching the rollout for this album, like I played the singles as they dropped, and then when the full album dropped, it makes it even easier to digest as a whole project because you already know, you know, 2 or 3 songs off of it, and then there's only a few between them, and a couple might have features, so you're like, oh, I want to hear that one or whatever.
Exactly.
I feel like you did like 3 or 4 singles for this album, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did. And there was a couple solos and a couple with features. And then I did kind of spread them out throughout the album so that, again, like as a listener, I try to imagine that I have a fan base and be like, I want to give them the coolest experience that I can, you know?
Yeah,
So I try to do stuff that excites me as a fan and excites me as a listener. I try to do that stuff as an artist as well, you know?
makes sense.
So, I could say that it's playing to the algorithm, or I'm just like sort of coming up with a fancy explanation for the fact that I'm like trying to do what works.
Yeah. No,
But I'm imagining myself in the position of a real head, of a real music lover,
I,
and going that way with it,
that's a good
not
way
so
to do
much
it, man.
just the general public.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Can you, I guess, for people who haven't heard the album, do you want to just kind of give an elevator pitch, sum up what they could expect from hearing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole thing is produced by Sayzee, who really like has only been producing beats for a few years now. Like he just started getting into it, recently for a hip hop producer.
That
But
entire
um,
process for Sayzee has been documented here on Fly Information for anybody who cares to go
yeah,
back and check in with old Sayzee interviews.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So
yeah,
he started making beats for himself, and like he put out a couple projects of his own that were his own beats. And I was like, dude, you gotta like, I like your style of production. Like, let's work on something, right? So we had done one that was called the Luxo Roma, that was sort of just a little sneak outside project,
yeah.
sort of testing the waters of like him producing a whole project and me rapping on the whole project. We were both kind of happy with how that turned out. So we're like, let's do like a proper like album. So yeah, for people who don't know, it's like sample heavy, boom bap kind of production. Um, and content wise, it's very like Castle in the Sky is like a dream. It's a metaphor for a dream. So it's like
Okay,
trying to bridge the gap between finding yourself in this reality and a dream you may have that may be something totally crazy that's inaccessible, like a castle in the sky or whatever, but trying to use that as your motivation or your lens for how you get through the bullshit that kind of life throws at you.
nice, man.
um
Yeah, listening
yeah.
to it, man. The Castle in the Sky theme made me think like kind of about creating heaven on earth, that concept, like
Yes.
being able to create your own version of heaven, and uh that we can build or destroy and live in heaven or hell as we're here, kind of deal, that you were searching for this way to elevate, and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And no matter how much the world kind of will tell you, like, that's a crazy thought or that's a crazy idea, the thesis of this album would be to press through that, and to maintain that sort of hope and that vision.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that we do, in some sense, create our own reality, and I wanted to tap into that as well without getting too like
yeah,
woo
yeah.
woo spiritual with it,
For sure.
right?
No,
Because
yeah, I think you did well at that. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it seems like you kind of got the idea. And honestly, like I was going through stuff at my job, like it was like real practical life problems. Like I have this family I need to support. I'm having trouble financially. I found a good job, but they're like corporate lunatics who are like, only worried about making a dollar
Bottom line. Yeah.
and the bottom line. And I've been through that experience so many times where like this job's going to work out for me. Like this is cool. These people are chill. And then it turns out to be like, the deeper you get, the more it's like people in glass offices, fucking in meetings all day, making decisions for the workers, only considering. So like that's the shit that I was dealing with while I was making this album,
Yeah.
and without it sounding like a hip hop version of Office Space, I kind of um, just tried to make it about life in general, and then funnel that through my kind of dream of being an artist, of being a rapper, and all that stuff. But it can be anything. We know whatever that is for you. Hopefully, you listen to the album and be like, okay, I see. He's inspiring me to also pursue my vision, whatever that may be, right?
Yeah.
And not let these sort of corporate demon people stop you from doing what you want to do or steer you in a direction you don't want to go in,
Yeah, man.
which tends to be what happens.
I mean, so even with the, like you said, work and family and all that, it seems like you must be spending a fair amount of time making music. You've dropped like, I want to say three projects. This wasn't far behind the last one with Sayzee, was it?
Yeah, no, it was like three projects dropped within a year.
Yeah.
So about 2 years total of like working on them and stuff. But yeah, which is, yeah, it's quite a bit for somebody with like a family and stuff. But honestly, bro, like I kind of sneak it in, like
Sure.
I'll like get super excited about a beat and like be writing a song on my phone while I'm doing stuff with my kids, and like come in the booth after and make sure that I'm actually on beat and stuff, that I remembered the beat correctly
I
and
was
was
just
writing
gonna
the
ask,
proper.
do you typically write without a beat? I was actually thinking about like as I'm at the gym, I could be typing in lyrics into my phone, and I was like, "Yeah, sometimes I've done that, but it's better for me. I like writing to the beat more. I'll put a beat on
Yeah,
loop and have that loop for 3 hours and sitting right to it. Um,
exactly. I gotta have the beat. But again, now I don't have that 3 hours to sit there with it on a loop, right?
sure.
So it's like I'll have started something with the actual beat playing, and then it's like now I gotta go do something else. So I gotta keep that beat in my head. And as I'm writing, try to make sure like that it's flowing still.
Woodwork, yeah,
And a lot of the time you just need to make minor adjustments after, and it ends up working, right? So
makes sense.
yeah, I kind of just been sneaking them in. And the last few months I haven't done anything because I was trying to promote Castle in the Sky, but also for practical reasons, I make my music in my garage now, and it was freezing. And then so much stuff, we ended up, all right, extra this, throw it in the garage, extra that, throw it in the garage. Then the garage is packed with stuff. It's freezing. I'm like, all right, well, it's going to take a lot of effort to do something. Like, let's really lock in on promoting this album, and then as I can open the studio back up, kind of get back into dabbling into some new stuff. So yeah, it's been a lot of like sneaking it in when it's convenient for the most part.
Did you manage to get like studio sessions in with Sayzee? You guys both live in the same spot, don't you, or near enough that you could?
Yeah, we're both in St. Catharines, pretty close. At the very beginning, we got together and he just played me like a ton of beats.
Okay.
And I was literally just picking beats out of that, shooting the shit, talking about concepts and stuff like that. The second album, we didn't even get together at all. It was just straight up, just exchange, sending me beats. Like, okay, I'll send this back. How does it sound? Maybe I'll change this part of the beat.
Yeah.
It was literally like I would basically record all these songs to like sort of demo skeleton versions of the beat, send him my acapellas. He would go back into the beat file and sort of make little changes and drops in the beat and little sample flips and stuff based around the acapellas that I sent, and then send back a new version of the beat. And then that would get mixed and mastered with the acapella that I had. So it was very like, you know, him working on his own time and me working on my own time,
Yeah.
sending stuff back and forth, getting it done.
Nice, man.
And his output is unbelievable. Like he's
Never
been
stops. Yeah.
a big inspiration for me, especially being from like not only my area but like my specific city, St. Catharines, and doing it as much as he does and having the quality and quantity he does. It's like it told me like you better get going, like you got to do this, right?
Yeah. Well, it looks like he's starting to kind of grow wings too. Like, it's been kind of fun watching his progression, not only, musically, but actually like as he gets noticed by more and more people and more people I talk to from across Canada, when I ask them like, who would you like to work with, are saying him and stuff. I think Sayzee is definitely one on the come up. And I think you're probably right to try to, you know, move along with that
Hey,
entire thing, right? Like there's no reason not to if you guys are homies.
yeah, we've been connected for a long time. So, like, first of all, I'm just super proud to see him making that progress, and then second of all, hey, if we can work together and he fucks with me, so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, we both are fans of what the other does.
right on.
So it's a mutual thing.
Uh, uh, it sounds like you're fairly used to kind of working solo. Like I assume you're press and record for yourself and doing all the engineering and stuff like that. Did you do the mix and master?
On Castle in the Sky, it was actually the first project I didn't do the mix and master myself. I got connected through a friend with this dude Driving Under Insanity, and he does all genres of music. So
Okay.
I was a little hesitant. I've always kind of been iffy about letting other people mix my stuff, just because I get it to a point that I like it, and then I'm like, well, I like it now, so I'm just going to put it out. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but for this album, I had been connected with this guy, and I'm like, let's give it a shot. So again, it was a lot of like sending back and forth, change this a little bit, turn this up, turn this down. Um, but we got to a point where like everybody was happy with it. So he ended up doing the master and stuff too. So yeah, I'm mostly probably going to end up sending my stuff to him going forward. So yeah, Driving Under Insanity.
Nice.
Um, yeah, he
Give
does
it a
a
mix.
podcast too for anyone who's interested.
Oh, nice. What's the name of his podcast and what does he talk about?
I believe it's Talking Under Insanity or
Okay.
something. Sorry
Okay.
if I got that
Is it like a
wrong,
hip
bro.
hop podcast though? Like
Music.
okay,
Yeah,
music in
he
general.
does everything. He does like punk stuff, and so
Cool.
again, like typically anyone working on my music, I want them to be like a hip hop person. So this is the first time I really kind of relinquished that. I was like, let's just get somebody with just a sound musical ear.
Yeah.
And again, we did like a few test things. He ended up doing Old Soul for me, and
Okay.
that's kind of where I was like, okay, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Let's have him try the next full project and see how that goes.
Word.
So yeah, I've been trying to relinquish control a little bit when it comes to like letting other people mix and master and stuff.
Yeah, everybody says you need a team to make it work or whatever, but I think it's important to try to build with people who you're comfortable with, and stick with the people who you can kind of trust is a smart move for people. So, stepping outside of the comfort zone to get somebody to do it for you in the first place might be feel risky or something like that, but ultimately it's necessary for the growth to start building that team, I think. But speaking of teams, man, I wanted to kind of ask you about like you've still got Choom Gang in all your handles. Is that just for the algorithm, or like will you ever drop that Choom Gang? Is there like I don't know. I know you told me last time it was for your homie who passed that you guys used to be Choom Gang.
Yeah.
At this point, is there Choom Gang? Am I missing drops from other members of Choom Gang?
That's a great question. There's really not so much anymore. We did kind of a group album in 2024, which had like a core of me and another member, Jarrell, were on every song, and then there were scattered members on other songs.
Okay,
So that was the last kind of Choom Gang drop, and none of the other like solo artists have done anything. They're all kind of the opposite of me. Like they need to be in a room with people all listening to a beat and all writing together and stuff like that in order to really feel confident in what they're doing.
sure,
Unfortunately, and that's not everybody, but that's the kind of core that people would know that we performed together with. They were very like, if we're all together doing it, let's do it. I was always like, everybody's gone. I'm going to work on my own stuff now.
yeah.
So I kind of just kept pressing hard that way. My one homie, Young Next, he's like a really talented producer and
I have seen his name
rapper,
around a few
vocalist.
times. I think on your drops mostly, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I try to include him on every drop because we've been working together for so long, and he's kind of the only other guy in Choom Gang that's really kind of continued doing his own art
yeah.
without sort of everybody being together. So big shout out to him, and we try to do stuff together as much as possible, so that kind of keeps it alive too. But honestly, like Spotify and I mean, it kind of is the algorithm. They don't really let you change your name unless you're like
True enough. Yeah, true.
You know, I mean, even Kanye has to put his shit out under Kanye West and Ye. He's got a separate artist page for Ye because they wouldn't let him just change
That's fucking
Meanwhile,
ridiculous for somebody that big.
it's insane.
Yeah.
And but then Jay Z just changed his recently to having two little dots over the A, and it's changed everywhere. So it's like clearly it can be done, but it can't be done for the little guy. But the thing is, I kind of got lucky with the of Choom Gang because now if you try to make your name of another group, it'll flag that and be like, you can't say your like it can't be in your artist name
Okay.
such and such of such and such. So I guess I got in there before that rule happened because at one time I tried to put out something with a different distributor and it flagged it like, oh, you can't be Ezza of Choom Gang
Damn.
because you got to have Ezza and then Choom Gang separately. At this point, I probably would consider just being like Ezza or Ezza something else.
I
But
wondered
of
as I
Choom
was
Gang
like
is
setting up the promo for this and setting up the title screen and stuff, like, should I be typing Ezza of Choom Gang on these? I'm just gonna put Ezza. Why not? But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, people within the space know who you're talking about and stuff, right? But you search Ezza just as a, I don't
there's
know
gonna
if
be
I'm even
a
in the,
few of
I
them
don't,
probably. Yeah.
yeah, I don't even know if I'm in the top 10 that pop up.
Yeah.
So the Choom Gang thing helps just for like local familiarity too. Like when we would perform live, it was always like Choom Gang, So even if it's all just small venues and shit, but locally that's kind of how we were known.
That makes sense.
Those performers that kind of go crazy, Choom Gang. So yeah, when I started doing more solo stuff, I wanted it to stay connected to that, not only for my homie who passed, but just for the practical reasons of people kind of knowing me through that already.
Yeah.
But now I'm like so much more like I've put out so much more stuff solo and I'm so much more recognized for the solo work that yeah, I mean I would probably consider changing it if it was an easy painless process,
Yeah.
but
Well,
now I'm like so entrenched in Ezra of Choom Gang, it's like
and it's good.
that's who it
Like you
is
say,
now.
it's good for the search bars and stuff like that to make you easy to find that way. Um, Dude, so I wanted to ask you, there's a couple songs that I had questions about lyrics in it. On the intro track, you have some bar on there that I can't remember word for word, but you talk about how you're quieter when you don't have a beat on it, that you don't like talking or you trip over words or something along these lines until a beat's playing, and then it's easier to express yourself that way. You seem pretty well spoken talking to you right now. Last time we had a good conversation too. Like, I heard that and was kind of like, I can relate to that because, like, in Alberta, there's just not a lot of like-minded people for me to really open up and have good conversation with. So I think probably lots of the people who have known me throughout my life, would see me sitting doing interviews and being like, "What?" But he was so fucking quiet, that guy. Uh, or likewise, see me rapping and think the same thing. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, how do
Yeah,
you?
that's an awesome thing to bring up. I love that. Because yeah, I mean it's hard to find like-minded people when you're an artist, when you're sort of in these smaller towns that have less people around.
Yeah, and working
Obviously when you're
corporate jobs and shit, right?
yeah, exactly. It's hard to find like-minded people. So like for me, when I'm getting to know people in the real world, in real space, I'm always very quiet at first and sort of just more of an observer. But when it comes to that, like the thing I said specifically in the song about like never feeling like I'm able to sort of express ideas unless I'm rapping or unless there's a beat, like people do say and I do kind of feel like I have the gift of gab in a way, like I can express myself pretty well, but like dude, afterward I'm never confident. I'm always going back like fuck, was I like, and especially I'm an emotional person, so anything that gets serious or gets like onto a topic where your heart is involved,
Right.
then I feel like I kind of lose my ability to be really articulate because I get emotional and I start to freaking freak out a little bit. So it's one of those things where in music you can express those emotions, right? You can kind of express those raw feelings in a way that's organized and has a beat to it that kind of adds to the feeling, you
Yeah.
know? trying to kind of express a complex emotion with just raw dogging it with words off the top of my, I may be able to sort of get my points out and stuff, but always I feel afterward like, was I too harsh? Was I too like abrasive? Was I
Yeah.
insisting upon myself and my opinion?
Do I
Like,
sound like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat or,
yeah, should I
Yeah.
have just shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Dude, I argued with my brother-in-laws for 4 hours on Easter because they're Trump people and all the Easter stuff was going on,
Okay.
with him threatening to
All
eliminate a
right.
civilization.
Yeah.
And I love my in-laws, no disrespect to them
Sure.
or their religion or anything, but they're Christians who love Trump, and I just can't. That's like the one thing I can't compute, and especially when he's threatening to wipe out civilizations and all this other violent stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, you're sitting here as a Christian defending that. Like, dude, we argued for hours, and again, at the end, I was like, I guess I won the debate. Like, I had more things that they couldn't disprove than they had things I couldn't disprove. But do I feel good? No,
Yeah.
I feel awful.
Well,
I
and when it
feel
gets
like
down to it in a
exasperated.
conversation, man, it's tough for somebody on that side of the fence to like actually sit there and be able to tell you why it's justified to go kill a bunch of innocent people. Like to come out your mouth with a reason why that's a good thing to do. You really got to be pretty hardcore, like, well, they're not Christians, or something. Like, I don't know.
Well,
But
that's the frustrating part is they won't just say it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They'll never just fucking say it.
yeah,
It's like I know what the problem really is or what the thing really is that makes you uncomfortable and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And you know it, but you're not going to say it because you know it's not okay to say or whatever. But then it's my fault that that's not okay to say.
yeah.
It's
It's definitely easier to make big statements in art than it is, at a dinner table with your in-laws. Uh,
that's back to the original question.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Like even if I can articulate myself well, I don't necessarily feel good about it afterward.
right.
When it comes to rapping or expressing yourself artistically, you're kind of like getting those things out in a way that feels good and presents itself well.
Yeah,
And maybe that's not reality, but that's kind of what art is like, transfusing this raw ugly human experience into something beautiful or something you want to look at or listen to,
yeah. Very well put, man. Um, the other question that I had about subject content, and I, just listened while I was at the gym to this album, but you've got, I think the track was called Kingdom Come. It was one of the singles. I played it on Atzik early, but
Thank you.
listening to it again, I was like, I just wanted to ask you, like, how simple does it need to be? Because I don't feel like you're making simple music. That song maybe counts as like, simple music anybody can kind of just like vibe to. But a lot of your stuff is fairly introspective and fairly poetic and emotionally driven, I feel like. And is meant to take people for a bit of a ride that way, take them into your mind a little bit. Um, is it just that song you tried to do that on, or is that something you think about always writing lyrics?
Thank you. Yeah, for all the kind words, and you're right. I mean, you're totally right. At the time, it's that song and it's other songs like that. Sometimes you just need to, keep it simple.
Yeah,
And honestly, in general, I've gotten more to a place where if the lyrics aren't just coming to me, I don't kind of lose interest in writing it, I used to kind of be like, okay, I love this beat. I know I want to make something to this beat. I'm going to write my ass off and try to make it happen, right? Now it's like I hear a beat and I may love it, but nothing comes to my head. I'm sorry, I got to go to the next thing, right?
yeah,
So I am kind of keeping it simpler that way across my music because I'm not trying to sort of force anything. And again, not to say that trying is automatically forced or trying isn't cool or whatever, but I've just been doing this so long that I just know what my comfort zone is
yeah,
and I know what's going to end up having the best final result, you
Yeah,
know.
you just
Um,
articulated exactly what I was thinking, that you're probably have just grown to a point where it's easier to do it now, so you don't have to force it as much. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes something simple might come to my head, like that hook, for example, and the old me would have been like, "Well, you know, that's kind of you're trying to sound catchy or whatever." And it's like, no, it's not trying to be catchy. It's just it's what came to my head, so it's catchy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of just what comes through.
Yeah, I really liked that single, man. As soon as I heard that one, I was like, "Oh, he's on one on this one. Fuck yeah, let's go." Uh,
Thank you.
Definitely the type of music I play on after the smoke is clear. Um, so, dude, let's do some of these. Well, actually, before we get into the how important questions, let me ask you anything to say about America right now, and would you go down there to do a show right now?
Oh, that's a good question. It would definitely depend on where and how safe I'm being kept. Um,
Is there see, the thing is it's like crossing the border that makes me nervous. Like I would have
yeah,
to, delete all my social media, or I don't know what you do, bring a burner phone across the border or something.
dude, it made yeah, crossing the border made me nervous at the best of times, you know.
Right?
Now, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't even imagine what that scene is like. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I know Americans that will come over here just willy nilly, like it's just like another trip to the mall or something. Like
Yeah.
Americans are so like they just have a different mindset.
They
You know
own the
what I mean?
world, man. They're going
They just like,
anywhere.
well, I'm gonna fucking go across to Canada. Who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah. I still see
Um,
videos of like, Karen in Europe talking about like how she's being treated mean because people find out she's an American and hold it against her. And so she was wearing a Canadian flag in the video I'm talking about. And I just like, yeah, it's unbelievable to me that Americans can't understand that, like, yeah, this is how the world sees you. You guys elected that guy. He's out fucking with other people's lives internationally. He's threatening country. Like, yeah, it's quite a big imposition onto other people around the world in the international
yeah.
community. So to like just be an American out there oblivious and wondering why it is people scowl at you, like, yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I traveled a little bit in 2017, so it was like right after Trump first got elected. And you know, everyone that I said I was from Canada, they'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on in the States?" You know, so now I can only begin to imagine, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame because I do love, you know, my obviously, you know, being especially being from Canada in general, but especially being from the part of Ontario I'm from.
You're real close
It's
to a
like
bridge. Yeah,
yeah, we're totally enveloped in their culture, you know. So like, there's so much about the American culture that I love, and the art, obviously. But you know, a lot of the stuff I love comes from like the melting pot stuff, the immigration stuff,
yeah,
the you know, not this sort of tribalism and stuff that kind of is being pushed really heavily mainstream now. It's not fringe anymore, you know.
yeah.
And to be from another country and go into the states, you almost have to be just as ignorant to be like willy nilly about that, right? So,
Yeah.
as much as as American would have to kind of be ignorant to go elsewhere and feel like, oh, what's the problem, right? Like, if
Well,
I were to go into America, what do you do? Like, what am I doing? You know?
and dude, they're fucking with Canadians. Like
Yeah.
it's weird how close to home this topic came to me, but my wife's cousin was all over CTV about a month ago because her and her 7-year-old daughter were imprisoned in fucking Texas. And she's not a American citizen, Canadian citizen, but she had all of her like work visa and like, permanent residency stuff. And her husband is an American who she married up here, and then they moved back to his hometown, I guess, or he's from Texas originally. I can't say for sure it was the hometown, but anyways, she was driving interstate, and as she came back into Texas, they asked her for her papers, and she ended up in fucking ICE detention for the next 2 months with her 7-year-old daughter.
Months
Yeah, bro. So like she was
with
in
her
there
daughter for two.
for a long fucking time. And now, okay, she's out now, but they've got her wearing a fucking ankle bracelet. And I was like, I would be on the next fucking flight out of that Gestapo led shithole personally.
Like, what the
That's
fuck, bro?
nuts to me. But yeah, I can say, I'm actually a couple degrees of separation from a Canadian who, was born here and moved down there and lived there for 5 years before she got scooped up by ice as she was like driving home from a baby shower. So like,
Like, man.
yeah, so
Like,
I raise my eyebrows when
oh,
I ask every artist in every interview. I've been asking like anything to say about America, because I know some people don't want to talk politics, they don't want to say it,
yeah.
so some people kind of turn away from it. But I've been asking everybody, would you do a show down there right now? And like, I feel like it's about a 50-50 split, where some people are just like, oh, I go down there all the time, it'll be fine. And I'm like, I fucking hope so. Like, dude, I had the guys from Hella Trees on here a few weeks ago, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll keep going down." And then Dov says out of his mouth like, "But fuck ice, I want to make it known, fuck ice." And I was like, "Don't go down there now, bro."
Yeah, don't make that known and then go.
Yeah,
Wait till after, man.
the
Oh
AI
my
is
goodness.
listening, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to try to be like, am I falling for some propaganda? You know what I mean? Like, is it really like, is it? But it's like, dude, it's all on video. It's super well documented.
Yeah,
Like you have to be willfully ignorant to believe that everything going on down there is above board. And as a Canadian, you'd have no threat
yeah,
whatsoever going down there. Again, I'm sure some cities are better than others for sure.
of course,
But I
yeah,
mean, Minnesota's super close to Canada. You know what I mean? That's not like we're not talking about the Mexican border where these killings happen between ICE and protesters. Like
right,
it's by the Canadian border.
yeah,
It's all super close to home, and yeah, you kind of have to be la 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 to kind of be like, yeah, no, everything's all good, right?
yeah,
But again, what to say about America? Where to even begin, right? Like, I remember when we first planned this podcast,
yeah,
it was probably what, like January or February.
yeah.
And I said, hopefully the world's not completely gone to shit by the time we do the show. And I could make a list this long of shit that's happened where the world's kind of gone to shit since
Every
then.
damn day. Yeah, yeah,
Like, holy fuck.
yeah.
I mean, thank God we're still here, but my God, what a list of shit. I was like, we can't even really talk about it because it's just too much.
Well,
It's just
I mean,
it's
the biggest
nonstop.
one, man, the gas prices are going to go up, and we're all going to be hit by grocery prices that are going to inflate and
The
inflate,
liberals,
right?
the
And
liberals.
they're all going to blame the liberals and say
Oh
Canada's
no!
broken, as though we're the only ones that this is happening to or
Ah!
whatever, right?
Like,
That
oh
drives me nuts,
man,
dude. Yeah, of
bro. Like again, our liberal party's not perfect either, but like
course.
to when these world global events are going on, and you think that what's happening in Canada is because our government's mishandling it. It's like, what are we supposed to do? There's not going to be oil supply,
Yeah, yeah,
so people aren't going to be able to get food, and then food's going to be even more expensive. And yes, again, the policies of the last 10 years, whatever, weren't perfect. But to say that now, because gas prices are going up and grocery prices are going up, that's because of who's in power, as if a conservative government would make a lick of difference right now with what's happening in the world.
dude, we might be America if Paul Revere had won that shit. I mean, you don't know for sure, but he would not say that anything bad about Trump for that entire fucking election campaign. He just refused to. That was the main thing for me, was just like, I don't know, that seems a little bit too much for me. Like, I wasn't going to vote conservative one way or the other, but yeah, I couldn't
He
believe.
really was scared to divide his base on that one, right? It really goes to show you who their supporters are.
Yeah,
And again, it's unfortunate because I don't want to cast one shadow on an entire group of people,
of course.
especially when they make up half my country. And I love my country,
Yeah,
I want to accept their views as well. But time and time again, every big movement that comes from the right is co opted by fucking demons.
yeah, dude. They just
I
want to
just
sell
don't.
everything off to the highest bidder, dude. Like, they're trying their best
Water,
to privatize, yeah, our water. They're fucking
brother.
selling the Rocky Mountains. It's gonna fucking poison my water supply. Like, they're
I
fucking,
mean, we are going to be America pretty soon. And it's like, again,
yeah.
a lot of people hate Carney. I think we got lucky as fuck with the Carney situation. Like the fact that
I'm
we
with you.
got a pretty intelligent guy You know, we kind of stumbled into voting for him when nobody was going to vote for that party whatsoever. And then Trump did the 51st state thing, and everyone was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
Polyev, I don't know about that."
There goes his
You know,
30-point lead, like,
you
yeah,
know,
a week
we're
later.
kind of we're kind of stupid politically as just as a group of people.
Yeah.
Like, overall, we kind of lucked out with this Carney guy. He's not perfect, but we kind of lucked out, you know.
Dude, you said it. We're kind of stupid as a group of people. In Alberta, the average reading level is fucking grade 5. Like, you can't expect people to be keeping up with the day-to-day shit show that is political theater right now.
You know, and life's hard enough, right?
Yeah, right. Everybody's trying to pay the bills and food on the table and take care of their kids and all that stuff. Yeah,
But that's where they want you. That's where they
that's
want you.
exactly where they fucking want you, man.
That's where they want you.
Dude, I've said my whole life. I should probably put it into a song and make a song out of it. But they're not getting another slave out of me. I've worked too many fucking hours sweating in the sun, hating rich people to give them another one who I'm not going to be able to fucking set up to do anything other than go work sweating in the sun. And with the way robots and AI are right now, I don't even fucking know if there will be jobs doing that anymore, right? Like, yeah, they're trying their best to get rid of the workforce. I hope it comes out as tech utopia, but it doesn't seem like it's going to, because the people in charge are, you know,
Well, it
Palantir.
might be for whoever's left.
Well, for the 6 guys that own these AI companies or whatever the fuck, I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be sitting
Yeah, them
real
and their
well,
families
but
will be living in a tech utopia.
yeah,
The rest of
yeah.
us,
The
Lord
rest
only
of us will be
knows.
fighting over water or whatever. Yeah, hoping the
Yeah,
oceans.
I'm not ready for that, bro. You know, again, you know, we're around the same age. I'm going to be 36 this year, and you know,
Yeah,
we've been lucky to see a lot of shit in our lifetime. And if we make it another 30, 40 years, we're going to see a lot more shit.
yeah.
So let's hope we can do it. It's been a ride, and it's going to be an even crazier ride going forward, I feel.
I've got a really good friend who's a bit of a doom and gloom guy, and he's always, he's making a greenhouse this spring so that he can like grow potatoes for his family and stuff like this. Like, he's not full on like prepper with a bunker full of guns yet, but he's getting there, and he's been telling me for probably the last 15 years that I've known the guy that, like, oh, it's all gonna come down. World War III is here, man. They're fucking engineering this, and I keep telling him, like, man, I think we've got far enough to fall that, like, it's going to get really shitty for people in poorer countries. It's going to get really shitty for, the global south. And there will be people who die of starvation and stuff as all the food prices go up, and, weather gets worse and worse, and drought and famine and all this. But like, we've got a long ways to fall here before we're
That's
actually
a good
living off
point.
potatoes or whatever, right?
That's
Like,
a good point. And people aren't going to start killing each other for food when we love our 7-Eleven too much. We love our our convenience. It just everybody loves it too much to be slitting each other's throats over it right now.
I mean, I hope you're right, but at the same time, my mom lives in a city with 20,000 people here in Alberta, and she phoned me yesterday and told me that they got home invaded. They left the house for 15 minutes, and fucking
Oh,
2 guys ran in, left tracks of mud all over the floor, ran over to the fucking desk in the living room and grabbed the purse, which I guess was empty because she had just switched from winter purse to spring purse or something, she told me. But yeah, anyways, so it made me think, like, it's getting bad. The social nets are being deleted. Our government here in Alberta is doing absolutely nothing to help anybody. And in fact, they're pushing for this stupid fucking referendum where they want to make it so that, like, they have more ability to say who can and can't immigrate into Alberta, which I'm like, is that even a thing a provincial government has any control over?
that's wild.
And also, like, they were doing a Alberta is calling campaign like a year ago, calling for immigration to Alberta, and now they're pumping the brakes on it, and they're asking the population in a referendum, should we have more control? That's one of the questions. And then the other question is, should immigrants have to pay for health care here in Alberta? And like, not have access to other provincial benefits that like true Canadians have or whatever. And like, it's
Like, what the
super.
fuck? What happened, dude?
Yeah, dude,
What happened,
it
bro?
is fucked up. And and then I see hip hop guys posting about how Canada's broken, and I just think, like, oh, is it the immigrants? Are you a hip hop guy who hates immigrants, you stupid fuck? Like, it just
I was
I
gonna
can't
say
even
that
connect it, man. I
that home invasion, whose fault was that? It was the
right.
liberals' fault, right?
Yeah,
It was the
oh,
liberals' fault
sure.
that there's a home invasion.
Totally.
Yeah, 'cause, we're oh god, they're too light on crime, yet they also want to throw you in jail for being a Christian at the same time. It's really bizarre. The
Right. Or for
but
what you
yeah.
say on the internet, I guess I hear them
But I
talking
gotta be
about.
real. Your friend, the doomsayer, you might finally be right. I don't know. I was at Walmart today, and I'm looking at the giant things of peanut butter on the bottom shelf. I'm like, I can afford to maybe buy like 5 or 6 of those big things of peanut butter right
Right?
now. Just store them in the garage for when we're fucking
Yeah.
choosing between bugs and scoops of peanut butter for protein.
Hell yeah,
Um,
man. Yeah, that could be real for sure. I think, people will be eating less meat, people will be taking less trips to Mexico, like that type of shit will be cut from Canadians. And that'll
yeah.
get the guys driving these big trucks who own a house here and a house in fucking BC really complaining. When they have to
Oh,
get
their
rid of their
freedom.
big
Their
truck,
freedom.
oh yeah, that'll be the end of Canada, if you
Yeah,
ask
we
them.
need to consume animals constantly, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be, again, we're spoiled, bro. Like we're honestly
100%.
spoiled.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, again, I'm not trying to be a sheep or anything, but it's like maybe we should be eating a little less meat. You know what I mean? Maybe we don't need these big factory farms running
Dude,
24/7. Like
I I looked at the
maybe that's
cost
not
of
really us.
yeah, no, I looked at the cost of bananas in the grocery store the other day and was like, what the fuck is anybody complaining about the price of groceries? I just bought
Bananas are
six
so cheap.
bananas that were grown God knows where, shipped across the fucking world, and I paid $4 for them or whatever, like
You
$3
know?
for them. I can't even wrap my mind around like how did they pay somebody to pluck it, fucking package it, put a sticker on it, get it in a boat, ship the boat here, like
Product of Guatemala, you
right,
know what I
like
mean?
yeah, and then like
Fresh still,
and
still
it's still
green in the
somehow fresh.
grocery
It's
store.
happened in 3 days. Like what? It's nuts, bro. We're
You
super
know,
spoiled.
and those are the things that are going to get disrupted with this whole fucking stupid war. And
Yeah,
it's like, man, we haven't even, like you said, it's going to affect the poorer countries first. We haven't even started to feel the effects yet.
yeah.
It's shit like that we just take for granted, man.
100%, man. Well, shit. 100 years ago, like kings hadn't had a papaya or a mango or whatever, because it just like was too tough for them to transport. Like they used to rent pineapples, dude. I listened to a podcast about how like in the 1800s they had first discovered pineapples and they thought it was like a gift from the gods or something, and the kings fucking wanted it back in England, and so they'd ship it
Wow.
across, and like it became like a status symbol to have a pineapple at your party. So they would literally rent these pineapples to people, and the same pineapple would be like used as a centerpiece at different people's parties, uh, just to like show how fucking rich you were. Like, dude,
Wow. Like a piece of fine art or something.
the world we've created is nuts.
It's absolutely wild.
Yeah,
And, we came in at quite an odd time for sure.
yeah.
To
we
have a
we
to
live
have a
in
lifetime
interesting
right
time.
now.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, I mean,
interesting
you
times.
could say that everybody's probably thought that during their time, but like this shit is really wild, bro.
Yeah,
This shit is really fucking wild. And stuff that would have been a parody even 20 years ago, from when I was like a teenager, you know, this is shit we would make jokes about like it was completely ridiculous that it would ever get this far.
yeah.
And yet somehow it managed to get this far. It's like we know humanity knows what it's walking into and just keeps walking.
Keeps on
It's
walking.
just what we do.
That's most convenient. Yeah, yeah. Shit. All right, dude. Well, we've been talking for an hour. Let me ask you a couple of these how
Yeah,
important
let's do
questions
it.
to wrap this up here.
Yes, sir.
So let's go. How important is rehearsal before shows? And as an extension of that, what does your rehearsal for shows look like?
For me, like the number one thing is just the memorization part. Like my biggest fear is getting up there and forgetting or fucking up my lyrics or not knowing my lyrics.
Yeah.
I have literal stress dreams where I'm supposed to be performing and the beat's playing and I'm like I don't know what I'm supposed to be You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on what your own strengths and weaknesses are. Like for me, once I'm on the stage with the microphone in front of the crowd, I'm actually quite comfortable as long as I know that I have the words in my head,
Down
you
to
know?
muscle memory. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, the rehearsal process is like a lot of listening to the songs over and over and over and over and over, annoying my family with the same 5 or 6 songs over and over and over, freaking trying to say them in my head when I'm in the shower. One thing I'll do is like I'll try to do them at like double speed. Like if I know I can rip through it at double speed to myself, then I could probably do it at regular speed projected to people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just a lot of memorization for me.
Nice. Okay. You kind of touched on this and said, that your family is supportive of you, which I've been meaning to ask this whole time. I saw somebody, I forget which famous rapper it was, but he was talking about how like his son still thinks it's cool that he raps, so he's going to keep doing it. It might not have even been somebody famous. Maybe it was a Canadian guy. Anyways, I saw somebody say that. Uh, are your kids old enough that they like could be critical of you, or are they still young and like it's just dad's cool because he's dad?
Yeah, well, my older one is about to turn 12, so I'm gonna be pretty scared of his opinion pretty soon. Like I'm
Sure.
gonna be like I'm gonna be real insecure when he calls me out for shit.
Yeah.
So far, he still thinks it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Obviously, my other ones just turned 3, so like I'm
There you
totally
go.
Superman. I can do no wrong.
Yeah.
But my older one, I'm getting a little worried about what his opinions are gonna be, and especially because like I have like sexual stuff in my lyrics, so
Sure.
that's the only thing that really I don't really care if they hear me talking about like smoking weed or whatever, or fuck, even I don't really talk about violence, but even if I like use like a metaphor that
Yeah.
had violence in it, that wouldn't even bother me if they heard that. The only stuff I think about is like the sexual stuff,
You're not
But then I'm
worried
like,
that
how
they're,
do famous rappers do it? Like
yeah.
their songs are out there,
Yeah. They must just tell their kid it's all just entertainment or whatever, I think.
They have to, right? And that's going to be my line as well. It's all just entertainment.
You're not worried though that like, because you don't make, new wave melodic rap hip hop. You're not worried he's going to tell you you're washed once he kind of gets out there and starts listening to what 16-year-olds listen to?
So far, he's impressed with the ability to rap and rhyme.
Okay.
Like he actually he found Eminem on his own volition and was like, listen to how good this guy raps. He's listening to like the newer, like Godzilla and tracks like that. But he's like, listen to how like sick this guy is, right?
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've like played stuff, and a lot of time he'll be like, oh, this is a good beat or whatever. But sometimes he'll be like, these guys are like really good at rapping.
Nice.
So he's very impressed with the skill of rapping. I think there's a very good chance that the style of music he's going to be like, dude, you're old.
Yeah.
Um, but again, there are glimmers of hope. I tell people this story, and it's a quick one. I was in Sunrise Records, and I like to just look through vinyls. I don't even have a record. Like I buy vinyls and just look at them and just have them as art. One day I'll have a record player where I can sit and listen to them like that. But I love vinyls. And there were these young girls looking through the vinyls, right? I'm talking like probably 13, 14. And they're going through vinyls and they're skipping past through all the like the Drake and the Kendrick and the and they're like, oh, there's Mad Villain, there's MF Doom. And
Yeah.
like grab the MF Doom one and went in. But I'm like, oh my God, like there's hope for the future, man. Like
Definitely. Yeah.
these little girls
There's
were
always
looking
going to
for
be,
MF Doom.
yeah, there's always going to be a subset of people who are looking for more traditionalist hip hop, I think, regardless of how, popular it is or isn't on the charts. Um, I keep seeing these conversations about like, how there's no number ones since the Drake Kendrick beef or whatever, and hip hop has
Good,
fallen
good,
off. Yeah, I really don't care at all. I think that that's
good.
probably a good thing. Yeah, yeah, definitely,
I mean
man.
that to me is why I was supportive of Kendrick through that. I mean, it all got commercialized and ridiculous, but to me, his thesis was this is an art form, and what you're doing is kind of just
The product
commercials and
version of it.
a
Yeah,
product version of it, right? And I think that through that sort of very public defeat, and then Kendrick going on to like win Grammys for it and stuff, which is, say what you want about the Grammys, they're still pretty considered a pretty high accolade in music.
definitely.
And when he won the Grammy, one of them, he went up and said, "There's nothing more powerful than rap music," and that's and that stuck with me because it's like you know, 90% of people listening to Kendrick, I cannot imagine are actually catching everything. Like, there's no way. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no way that guy has millions and millions of listeners and they're all sitting there like, like
Yeah.
knowing all the words. Like, there's no way, right? But he expressed like rap music is just powerful, man. Like people can just cling on to one little part of it and they'll have that song in their heart forever. There's just something powerful about rap.
Just because
Um,
there's so many words, there's so much ability to express. I mean, and you can say,
yeah,
oh, but a guitar riff can be expressive. Yeah, but
of
it can't
course.
express an idea to me. It can't really tell me what the guy's thinking. It can tell me,
Yeah.
oh, I'm angry, or oh, I'm sad, or oh, like you can get a vibe from it, you can get a mood from it, but you can't get a real explanation of why I'm angry or whatever from an instrument, but like you can
You know?
from a rapper, So yeah, I think that hip hop has that ability. The storytelling of it is so powerful. I totally agree with Kendrick that it is, because it's the most lyrical. It's the best chance to pass a message on to the masses that anybody's
Yeah.
going to have
Or
through
even
art.
to your own little subset of people, you
Yeah,
know? Like you can
100%.
honestly rap can make anything cool.
Yeah.
To make anything sound cool. It's just who's it gonna sound cool to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So let me circle back. I got sidetracked asking you about your kids and their opinions of you, but how important is family approval?
For me, really important. Like I'd have a really hard time doing this, just gathering the will to do it if
Yeah.
they weren't approval. Like, you know, I got lucky to find a great woman who's super supportive, and you know, I know a lot of guys that as soon as they got married and had kids, as soon as they got with like their girl that they stayed with forever, that was it for rapping.
Disappear. Yeah. A lot of
no,
those guys
no,
check out for 15 years and then when their kids, are old enough to drive themselves around, they come back to the music game a little
yeah,
bit.
or they
Yeah.
go through some kind of midlife crisis and end up coming back and rapping. And again,
After the
your talent
divorce.
really never goes away. But like, yeah, I feel so blessed that I'm able to continue doing it and that they understand how important the creative outlet is for me and just my mental health.
Yeah.
I think that having that support is huge. I can't imagine doing it without it. However, some people that don't have any family go the furthest in these things. So it
Definitely.
is
Yeah.
what it is. I
I,
can't say that it's needed, but for me, it's very important.
I was going to ask, has it always been like that? Like, what about as a youth with like your parents? Did they approve of you rapping and being into hip hop, or was it like a thing you had to hide from the family kind of then?
I hid it for a while.
Yeah.
When they finally discovered it, it was like a lot of mixed feelings, obviously, because especially early on, you're just writing about whatever, rapping about whatever you hear other rappers rapping about. So like, what are you talking about? Some of this stuff in here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But my parents are like music lovers and they appreciate music and they love the fact that I had that as an outlet.
Yeah.
Even though there were aspects of it they didn't understand or they didn't agree with, or they felt were like, do you need to be putting yourself out there like that or making yourself look like this? They were never on my ass about it, you know?
Yeah.
It was very like if there was something they liked, they'd be like, "Oh, that was really good. Like that song sounded great or whatever." And if there was something they didn't like, they just wouldn't say anything. And then I would know like, okay. But like and my dad is like he does like a progressive radio show or he had
Okay.
he stopped now, but he had for a long time for
Oh, didn't you
McMaster
tell
just
me
on
he
a
used to like book for a? Was it you who told me your dad used to book a festival or something out there? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
no, that must have been somebody
Okay.
else. But
Okay.
but my dad's always been on the like eclectic music scene, so
Oh,
he's always been into like psychedelic jazz and also so I've always kind of heard non-mainstream music. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
everything my dad ever played around the house was not mainstream. It was something off kilter about everything. So I kind of always took his opinion as like I'm going in the right direction if my dad fucks with it because he doesn't fuck around with any mainstream, any commercials. Like, he's just got a great radar for this is not authentic.
Nice.
And so I try to like have that in mind as sort of a guide. But you know, they were never outright like here's a bunch of money to do your thing either. You know, like I never
Sure.
got support that way.
Yeah.
It was just that was good or nothing at all.
Word. Thinking more now, I think it was Max Moon actually who told me that that his dad used to book a festival.
Shout out to Max Moon.
Yeah, yeah, word. Let's do. So I've been asking. I just posted a montage of this one with three guys answering it, but let's do this. How important is an in-person studio session with a producer?
I mean, if you can do it, it's great. I mean, I wouldn't say it's been important for me. Most of my music is done by sending stuff back and forth over the internet, especially since having kids and having a family. Like it's again, it's very like I gotta sneak in what I can when I can. And because of that, it's a lot of like, all right, I'm going out to the garage for half an hour, and do what I can. And it's really hard to schedule things with other people. Luckily for the style of like the my process or whatever, I always kind of did that anyway. Was kind of like curate beats and get beats from different people and see what I like and go from there. However, the times that I have been able to be in person session with a producer have been great and have had great results too. So I can't say that it's been super important, but certainly if anybody hasn't done it, it definitely is something that you should try to do as a rapper just to experience it because
Yeah,
it's a different vibe for sure.
yeah,
And collaboration is really what this is based on. So whether you're doing it remotely or doing it in person, it's all about collaborating. And so if you can do it in person, you'll find some element that you wouldn't be able to find doing it remotely the way I usually do.
yeah. I
So
would
I could
agree,
see
man.
it both ways.
Yeah, I think like especially if you're just flying out to work with a producer who you don't know. I don't know how much you would get from that one session being in person. But if it's like a producer who you can kind of build with and develop trust with over a series of songs or over a extent of time, um, I think that probably goes a little bit further than just kind of a one-off session in person with
Yes.
somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Nas fan, and like his output with Hit Boy over the last few years, like just again, that's an example of just locking in with a producer.
Yeah.
They may not have known each other so well at first; they're from different generations, but as they continue to make more projects, for me, they got better as they went on.
Yeah.
Like they won a Grammy for the first one, but that was the worst one of the six for me. So like the more they kind of found that synergy between them, the better the work was. And then he went and did the same thing with Premiere on this last project, which a lot of people didn't like, but I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And
I
it
agree.
was him and Premiere together working on the whole thing, and it's like I wouldn't have wanted that any other way,
No, that's
as a
like a
fan,
dream album for them to have done
like
that. Like,
I would have been so disappointed if I heard that they didn't even sit in the same room and they just sent stuff back and forth the whole time, even though I make that music. So
yeah, yeah,
that's something I need to incorporate in my whole like do stuff that would excite me as a listener because yeah, as a listener, I get super excited when I hear they locked in and did this together.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Thinking of it now, like Premiere should just do album after album with different OG MCs like that. Like,
Come on, man. We'd all be here for it.
yeah, every single one. You know what? I should probably go buy that album, even like, even though those guys don't need the money, just to support that entire movement. The what Nas did with Mass Appeal, with the
Oh,
Ghostface album and the De La
that was the
Soul album, like just so good to see the OGs come back and still be in good form
That
like
was the
that.
best thing of 2025 for me, man, was
Yeah,
waiting for those releases, just like musically, because I mean, even the posthumous ones were like the Mob Deep one was great. The Big L one was like a lot of kind of recycled stuff, but still a good listen.
I mean, for an
Um,
album from a guy who's been dead for 20 years or whatever, 25 years, like
who didn't really
what can
record
you
that much
expect?
material,
Yeah, yeah,
evidently.
yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, that whole thing was great. It's just like a resurrection. And again, while people were saying hip hop is gone now and there's no number ones, I'm like, some of the best albums have come out this year, quality wise. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree,
and
man.
yeah, just to support that movement and how that culminated in the Light Years project, it was great. It was perfectly executed. So, yeah, they're keeping hip hop alive. The OGs for sure. It would be great to see Premiere do some more.
For real, yeah. How about this, man? How important is it that listeners understand your lyrics? This is kind of a different way for me to ask you how much you got to dumb down.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot when people like for example, if you ask a question that to me is like, okay, he understood the lyric, that means a lot to me, So like it's great when they do. I guess it really does depend on the song. There are certain songs where I would hate to be misunderstood in the thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And there have been times where like my wife will hear a lyric and be like, "Did you say that?" Or like she'll misinterpret like the rap slang of it, right? Be like, "I thought that meant that." I'm like, "Oh God, do people think that that's what that means?" So there's little things like that where it's like I would hate to sort of be misunderstood, but ultimately, you kind of know your crowd and you know what's going to hit with who. But when it does, and it's something, especially something more introspective, and somebody comes out and says that they really related to that, it means the world. That's like what I do it for. Other than for my own enjoyment. It's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, word. Dude, speaking of misunderstood lyrics, on my last project, I had a bar where I said, I, I, I'm not king. I just picked up the crown when I walked in. I was cheering for the guy that shot him. And my homie Kez Mega hears it and goes, dude, you can't fucking say that. You sound like you're talking about Martin Luther King. And I was like,
You
no,
just
I
got
mean, I assumed people would know I'm not talking about Martin Luther King. I'm just talking about a king in general. Like, but yeah, so I went and fucking
oh
punched in
man.
and swapped out the official version of the song because I was like, I
It's
don't
one of
want
those
people to
things, right? Where it's like
misunderstand it. Like,
even if 9 out of 10 people aren't going to misunderstand it, just knowing there's the possibility that one is,
yeah,
it's all I'm going to hear when I listen to it myself now. You know what I
100%. Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Well,
That's
I
what it
swapped it
is.
out. I changed the entire bar, so nobody will ever fucking hear that nonsense again.
Yeah,
Because it's,
yeah,
I don't
no,
want people to misunderstand me or some fucking white guy to think that I'm on his side or whatever, being racist. Like, no.
bro. Isn't like I know we're almost done, but isn't it the craziest thing when you're around just white people you don't know that well, and there's no people of color or minorities around at all, and they just start spouting off, and you could like you could feel it coming.
Dude,
They'll start with something little, and then you won't totally push back because you're like kind of trying to assess in your head, and then it'll just start spilling.
I'm not
And it's
gonna
like, dude,
lie,
just
bro.
because I'm a white dude
Yeah, it's
and
one of the
I'm married to
reasons
a
that
woman.
I've always made sure that like I have long hair. I like if I let my hair down,
Yeah.
it fucking hangs down halfway down my pecs. Like I got long fucking hair, and it's because you don't see many guys that have those beliefs with the fucking man bun. Like it just isn't a thing that's out there. People can see me and assume
Yeah.
my beliefs around these parts. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm,
exactly. Like
uh,
fucking, you're gonna have to have a pink or blue hair pretty soon. Huh?
yeah, definitely, man. Um, Let me ask you, how important is winning awards? We kind of mentioned, the Grammys being questionable as to how important it is. I think on a Canadian level, that becomes even more questionable. Do the Junos matter? Do the, East Coast Music Awards or various little fucking smaller awards across the country matter? I see people with their bios out here that are like, I won the Alberta fucking Industry Choice Award. And I'm like, dude, who fucking voted on that? you know?
Yeah. No, 100%. It's one of those beauties in the eye of the beholder thing. It's what you make of it. Like I won a Niagara Music Award in 2019, and like the Niagara Music Awards again is who the fuck's voting? I don't even know.
Right.
But you go to this event and there's enough people there and there's cameras and they try to they've somehow dressed it up to be prestigious. No disrespect to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had a fun time going there and stuff, but it's like, what the fuck even is this, right?
Well, and those
But
little ones do give a guy who's on his way up something to put on his resume, something to put on the
exactly,
application. Yeah. So,
it's just really what you can make of it. If you even can take that nomination and put it in your profile and make it seem like, again, it's not about lying or putting on a front or whatever. It's like, as an artist, what do you have? Like you can't say I have a degree in psychology or I have you know what I mean? It's like you don't go to school for
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You don't like go to a job where you get certain certifications for it. It's like awards and streams is
And who you've
basically
opened for. That's the other popular one I see guys list off in their bio. I've opened for all these guys, which,
yeah.
like, I guess reading it kind of makes me think, like, okay, so at least he's, like, serious enough that he's, like, put in some
Yeah,
work to do some shows, but, like, at the same time, we don't care that you've opened for,
yeah.
D12 when they came
Yeah,
across.
exactly.
Like,
These guys that come through and do a million shows, right? Like,
yeah.
again, as an artist, you got to find something to make yourself be set apart before anybody even hears or sees your art. You know, it's unfortunate, but I think even at the best of times before the internet, artists had to kind of be wonky people to get noticed and for their art to mean something. You know,
Yeah.
like whether that was like an inherent thing or it just artists just happen to be eccentric people and the best artists are the most eccentric. It's a chicken or the egg thing. But before anyone's even going to click anything, they need to see something. And awards is just another one of those things that you can throw on there that
Yeah.
that might help somebody be like, okay, this guy's not a complete nobody, you know. But then you get to more prestigious awards, and fuck, I'm not going to sit here and be like like fuck the Junos, and then act like I wouldn't care if I won a Juno or got nominated for. It would mean the
Yeah.
world to me. You know
Oh,
what I mean? Like I put so much into this,
the
right?
Junos make careers 100%. You get a Juno, you're getting grants for the
Absolutely.
rest of your fucking life. Like,
Exactly, and
yeah.
same with the Grammys, right? And it's like even I've always liked awards. Award shows are kind of corny, but just like keeping a tally of like who has won what, I've always kind of been interested in that. Even like I'm a fan of movies and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I know what movies a certain actor won an Oscar for.
Okay.
Like so even though as an artist we all kind of have the understanding that you know, you can have something really truly great that's even better than stuff that wins awards and never get an award your whole life.
Right.
And we all kind of understand that there are those. Um,
The artists understand that. I don't know if regular people understand
yeah,
that. I think regular
exactly.
people are at the stage where they're like, no, the best thing is the one that sold the most. Like,
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
yeah.
As artists, we all kind of have that understanding, which is why I've never been the guy that like poo-poos the idea of an award or that doesn't mean shit or whatever. It's like, okay, if you go into it with the understanding that, okay, we all know that not everybody can win an award.
Yeah.
We all know that there are extremely talented people that never win a thing or never sell a record their whole lives. We know all that. Now let's take what we can get. You know what I mean? Somebody's
Yeah.
handing me an award. Okay, great, cool. I'll put it on my resume.
Well, and just
But
you said the Junos and Grammys are both kind of the same, and they're kind of the same, but at the same time, like the Grammys are just giving it to somebody who's already got their career. It is already a huge star. The Junos really, I think, focus
that's
on
true.
making stars, right? Like they're trying to
That's
find the
true.
next Drake to give the best rap album to. Who
Yeah.
might have the ability to blow up like that and really bring recognition and light back to the Canadian scene, I think. Um,
Yeah, that's true. We
yeah,
have to give them credit for that for sure. It's not just like a popularity contest or a sales contest.
yeah,
They want to present the culture artistically.
definitely.
And I think that's always been kind of a great thing about doing this in Canada is there is that will to push Canadian art, and especially now more than ever, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
now is the time to really be like, yeah, I'm fucking Canadian, by the way.
Turn off
Despite
that American bullshit already and listen to After the Smoke is Clear. God damn it.
like
Uh,
support Canada in every way you can, not just what liquor you buy or whatever. Like
yeah. The
you know,
artists need the help too. That's real, man. I I complain about it all the time. I don't know how the fuck to get anybody to listen to a show that's made out of Canadian hip hop, but it's dope every fucking week. And it's not because I'm some master DJ who can blend shit. Like I do little simple blends or remixes or whatever, but like it's because the music is dope. There's just
yeah, man.
genuinely so much music every week. So yeah, man, I wish more people would pay more attention to the Canadian scene and support the artists that they find and enjoy from it, because it's
What's
tough.
wild is like even Americans are very supportive of Canadians and hip hop for the most part. You know what I mean? Like I saw a thing with Alchemist where he was talking about Socrates and he's talking about Swollen Members and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
these guys, a lot of them, they understand how Canada connects to hip hop historically. Like a lot of historical shows have happened here. We were talking about shows that we've seen that have been incredible.
yeah.
Just because they found out they could come up here and make money and there's not going to be any problems. They don't have to worry about people shooting up the venues and all this stuff.
Right.
They love it. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
and it's
all
that
love.
whole
And we,
like real recognizes real thing, right? Like artists from America are still going to see themselves in artists from Canada. It's
yeah,
we're all pushing the same fucking boulder
exactly.
up the same, creative hill, trying to express ourselves with this art
Yeah.
form.
But
Uh
no, how the fuck do you get your average person to tune into underground Canadian,
Bro, I don't know. I got to win
God
the
bless you,
lottery.
bro.
I got to
Just
do I got to do that one, to win the
just
lottery
keep
so that I
doing it,
can
bro. Just
put a
keep
bunch of money
eventually.
behind it or something. Or one of you guys needs to blow up. That's the other thing is I need Sayzee to actually like sell a couple million
Yeah,
albums and then people come over to the show to see his early interviews. That's
exactly, exactly. And trust me, bro. If I ever blow up, I'm pointing people to you.
hey, I would appreciate it, man. And
You already know, man.
you know,
As long as it goes the other way, you keep having me on your show.
hell yeah,
And if your
dude.
show blows up, don't forget about me.
Of course, man. Yeah.
And same goes both ways, bro. We all gotta support each other
It's
in
all
this.
the same scene for sure, man.
Yep.
Speaking of scenes, before I let anybody out of here, I ask the same few questions. Can you describe your local scene? You probably did last time, but let's hear an updated one.
Um, it's I mean, the quality of the music you can find on the internet from the local scene is great. I mean, Sayzee has an amazing output. I have a pretty good output. One of the great video directors to me in Canada right now, Tyler Roussel, is from here. He just started linking up with this Toronto guys and doing some videos with them as well.
Nice.
Obviously Daniel's son, Ao Biggs, like people like Raz Fresco.
Oh, you don't get to
They're
claim
more
Danielson anymore. He's out here in Berta now.
that's true
He's in
actually. Yeah.
Calgary. Yeah,
That's true. He's one of you now, but
yeah.
that sort of Toronto, more sort of boom bappy, undergroundy, kind of grimy. We've been making more connections with them. So on that aspect, it's really good
Yeah.
because they're recognizing that we do kind of the same thing, and there's been a lot more meshing that way. You come here and you go to a hip hop show. That's a different story. It's still a
Right.
lot of the same shit I'm sure you guys experience out there. Somebody comes in, they're like, all right, I'm going to get 20 different artists to pay to be on this bill. The audience is going to be all the other artists waiting to do their set and their families and their friends. And that's most of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I am so tired of going to those and I'm so
Yeah.
tired of getting on those, but it's basically the only opportunity to perform.
Right.
Like when I put out the Just Call Me E album, again, no disrespect to anyone who runs any of these things. Do your thing, bring hip hop places. If it has to be in a sketchy way, whatever. I'd rather it than nothing.
Yeah.
But man, I went and did one because I just wanted to practice doing the material live. And I was like, all right, I'm going to buy into one of these shows and have 20 other artists watching me and just kind of use it as a practice, use it as a rehearsal. And that's sort of my mentality toward it
Yeah.
because I can't imagine that model bringing in any sort of actual audience. So
Yeah.
unless, like you said, somebody like a D12 or one of these legacy acts comes through, that's a good kind of thing to get on because then you're going to get the crowd that is interested in hip hop and are going to.
Right.
But if you're just like a whole bill full of no names that all paid to get on there, and the only people in the audience are the other people that paid to get on the show,
Yeah.
like, man, and that's mostly what the scene is out here, unfortunately,
That
in the
sounds
real world.
pretty
Internet,
close to
we're
what's
doing
happening
good.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
internet, we're doing all right, but
yeah.
in the real world, we haven't gotten there.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Let's go. Can you name other artists in the, well, you just did kind of name other artists on the scene people should be up on. Anybody else you feel like shouting out though?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of shouted out some Toronto guys there, so I'll keep it more local here. Obviously, Sayzee, Dialect Sosa, shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot right now. Arsenal, the beat chef, who runs Thunderground Radio. He also produces, so he's kind of does similar to you, puts out new mixes all the time.
Yeah.
So he's kind of kept the wheels greased here a little bit. My homie Young Next is a great artist as well. Look for his stuff, and then yeah, I mean, we got a lot of dudes that can rhyme too. Like there's a new young cat Nine Side, he can really rhyme. So look out for stuff from him,
Okay.
and hopefully we get some more. But
Nice. I'll try to
that's
tap in with that guy. Nine Side. That's a new name for me. Um,
yeah, he's pretty new, but he can rap. He
nice.
can rap. I've seen him live. I haven't heard too much of his music, so I can't like fully be like, yeah,
Eh,
his stuff's the greatest.
but if
But
the
he can
live
rap.
show is there, then
Yeah, he can fucking
typically
rap.
that means that even if he hasn't recorded much, he'll probably grow into being able to record good music.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So shout out to that dude as well, and whatever other youngins are around here that might see this, just holler at me, man. I'm here,
Hell yeah, man.
and we'll add some more artists to that list.
Definitely. How about this, man? Any Canadian artists you'd like to collab with who you still haven't worked with?
Oh man, I really love Raz Fresco.
Yeah.
Not only as an artist but as a curator. The whole like Baker's Club, and he's got great producers on there, dudes like Gritfall, who just make these really cool beats.
Yo,
Um,
they did a thing where it was like the end of Baker's Club. Is Baker's Club still around? I was supposed to talk to the sixth letter a while back, a month ago, and it fell through. We're going to reschedule in the fall. But I was going to ask him this, but like there was like a few Instagram posts from Raz and Gritfall and Sixth, and yeah, they were talking just about how like on to the next thing or whatever. And
I heard a bit about that too. Like they all seem to still be working together. So
right?
I don't know if
Yeah.
it was like somebody kind of behind the scenes that might have been involved that they no longer are rocking with or whatever. That's
Or,
kind of what it
or
feels
just
like.
kind of like
But
a new phase, maybe. I was like, oh, okay, it's just kind of a reset for the crew. Or
yeah,
I
because
don't
they've
know.
been in
Yeah.
Baker's Club for a long fucking time. Like
Right.
it's, I remember seeing them open, like when they were just opening for legacy acts that were coming through and shit, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah.
shout out to those guys. I'd
Yeah. They're
fucking
dope.
love to work with Raz in any way, shape, or form.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure there's other Canadians I'm blanking on right now that I love. There's so much talent out here.
For real.
But yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind. I'm a big fan of Raz.
Dope, man. Anything to plug that people should look out for? Shows, tours, or drops, or anything else?
Shit, man. Yeah, check out the Castle in the Sky album if you haven't.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm going to be hopefully putting out some new shit in the summer. I'm kind of just starting to get the wheels rolling on what the next project may be, or if I'm just going to drop singles. Um, yeah, whatever comes next, look out for it. I don't know yet,
Hell yeah.
but hopefully something for the summer.
All right, man. Looking forward to it. I'll keep playing the music over here on After the Smoke is Clear. Where can people find you on social media to pay attention?
Yeah, so Instagram mainly at Ezza905. And yeah, just search Ezza of Choom Gang on YouTube or Spotify.
Right on. Well, this has been fun catching up, man. Anytime you want back on the show, let me know. I'm happy to host.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. It's always great chatting with you too, on or off the air. So much love.
For real, man. Peace.
You as well. Peace.
Sorry, technical difficulties here. I don't know why the fuck my laptop camera won't turn on, but I guess I'll swap this camera over now that it's not being used on Zoom. That gonna work? Hey, there we go. Perfect. A little more clarity on this camera too. I should probably do that every time. Anyways, so upcoming interviews every Tuesday. That's what happens here. Twitch.tv/Doobyis is where they happen live, but you can catch them over on YouTube afterwards. Clips over on Instagram. Hit me on the socials and let me know what you think. Do the like, comment, share. That I know everybody says it, but it really does help these algorithms boost these shows to more people. And like Ezza and I were just saying, it is tough getting people, pushing behind this Canadian hip hop scene. I do my best every week to boost it. Next week, I will be talking with Tone Chop and Frost Gamble. I've already confirmed with them once again. They've got an album called Beautiful Foundations. I've been playing the singles from that over on Atsic. You can find, of course, the After the Smoke is Clear archives at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Free listening. I suggest you grab the Mixcloud app. But back to these dates. So May 5th, Tone Chop and Frost Gamble. May 12th, I'm talking to OP Yeti. He is based out in Victoria and has been dropping singles lately. I feel like there's probably an album coming up. I'll make sure I ask him for some more details before May 12th. May 19th, I talked to Half Cut and Cole the God. Just weeks before their upcoming show that was just announced in Lethbridge, so I'll get to talk to them and then go through the show and slap hands with them. They're also bringing Danielson out, and K-Stone's on the bill, and Donnie Sage is on the bill, and Javier Escuala is on the bill. These are all people who have talked with me on Fly in Formation, who make dope music, so I'm looking forward to that one. Should be a good time when they hit Lethbridge. I want to say it's like June 3rd or 4th or something like that. People should check their social medias if you're in Lethbridge and want to come to that show. It should be a good one. Half Cut and Cold to God, May 19th. That's when I'm talking to them for Fly in Formation. May 26th, I talked to Cold Camp. That's the Dirty Samples new crew. So it'll be him and Chaka Boy joining me. June 2nd, I talk with Deuce Fantastic, Edmonton-based MC. Catching back up with him. June 9th, Ghost Boy RJ. Looking forward to that. He's really got momentum in the Toronto underground scene, and he's not one of the artists who is often named. You know, when people talk about the underground Toronto scene, you know, I feel like maybe Roshan gave him a shout out or something like that when I last talked to him. But you know, he's not maybe getting the acclaim that he deserves for how much good music he's been dropping. So I'm looking forward to talking to Ghost Boy RJ June 9th. June 16th, Meyer Clarity and Fresh Kills, 2 more return guests and friends of the show. I have really been enjoying the drops from their new album, OCDC. There's a few singles out. I've played them on Atzik, but you can, of course, find them on streaming. I would encourage it, but by then the album will be out. I'll be able to analyze it and chop it up about that album with them. June 23rd, Def 3, Vancouver-based artist. He has been touring across Canada. Excuse me. He's been touring across Canada in the past few weeks, and you know, I'm looking forward to catching up to him, because last I talked with him, he was talking about kind of how he had been planning to mix boom bap with more EDM sound and take that on the road to try to do more festival-based shows. And it looks, from the footage that I see from his shows, it looks like people have been having a good time and have been very receptive to that movement. So looking forward to talking with Def 3 June 23rd. And then June 30th, I talk with K Blitz, another Edmonton-based MC who's got more work coming out through the summer. I take July and August off so that I can chill. I'll still be doing the weekly After the Smoke is Clear mixes through the summer, but doing a weekly mix and a weekly interview just gets to be too much when I'm trying to, you know, take various holidays and travel around. But yeah, then we'll be back to weekly Tuesday interviews for September, October, November. And yeah, you can always catch me over here streaming on Twitch on Fridays. I do what's called Atzik Radar, where I listen through all the new releases and do my best to keep up with the entire national scene, and make my picks to play on After the Smoke is Clear. But half of the fun of those streams is kind of like that there's also a bunch of music that I don't really like and just skip through. So, you know, I've got a soundboard going and get a little bit zany with the soundboard as we skip through 8 or 9 hours of music some week. So that's Fridays over here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Doobyis. As well, this is where the interviews happen live. Thursdays, I'm normally DJing to put together a new episode of After the Smoke is Clear. I appreciate people coming by to talk in chat. Shouts to Mr. Mish, who just popped up saying what's good. It was a great interview. I hope you were here for it. Maybe you missed it, but come back next Tuesday. There will be another one. And, you know, people can always join in if you've got questions or comments. Put them in chat. Let me see. If you've got a good question for the guest, I might just ask them and pretend that I made it up. But I appreciate people coming through, and yeah, Doobyis.com is the hub for everything I do. I will catch you on the next one.